So you have decided it's time to bug out. It's a raw situation outside. There's chaos, lawlessness, looting, violence. And you decided it's time to get out. Downtown Prepper here. And I've decided to put a little video together to show what you would need if you did decide to bug out. Or at least what I think you would need. Obviously, everybody's entitled to their own opinions, and this just happens to be mine. First, I think, and the most important part is, you need to have a plan. You need to know where you're going. You need to know how you're going to get there. And you should stick to that plan. First thing you're going to need for the bug out bag, I guess you can say, is a bag. And there's a multitude of bags out there. This just happens to be one example. This just happens to be an Osprey Aura 65. And it's a newer, I guess you'd call it, a more modern style of bags. And they're great because they have a relatively compact design, but they lift it up and it can be made a lot bigger, as you can tell here. They have places for hydration packs, the H2O thing, plenty of pockets and plenty of storage. Next, shelter. What are you gonna shelter yourself with? Well, you can take a tent, or you can take what I've decided, and that's a military poncho. I stuffed it in here, and I won't pull it out. I'm sure you could pull out videos, but it's small, it's compact. The next layer for myself would be this mat. It's an inflatable sleeping mat. It rolls up pretty compact, and it's a luxury, but man, I've been hiking in the Appalachians without a sleeping mat, and I tell you, wow, what a difference does it make. Day and night, my personal opinion. And as far as covering yourself, get yourself a featherweight, a light sleeping bag. Now, this one only goes up to down to 20 degrees, but with that sleeping mat, I should be good pretty much anywhere. I'll be cold, but I'll stay alive. I will upgrade that sleeping bag soon, but, you know, this stuff costs money too, so one step at a time. Next is your clothing. It's wintertime here in Indiana, so you're going to need a good coat. Preferably wool. Nice, thick. Weatherproof. Obviously a shirt of some sort. Huge wool socks. Wool is huge. It keeps you warm when it's wet. It's semi-fireproof. More than, say, cotton. Cotton is the enemy when it's wet outside. Obviously, changes of underwear, a change of shirt maybe. I love this compression gear. It's great. It airs you out. These are actually compression underwears that are bright colored. In case you didn't want to be spotted, but you wanted to signal eventually. Rip those up, whatever. Good pair of leather gloves. You could go synthetic, but synthetic burns. Leather doesn't. I would definitely suggest that. Clothing takes up a lot of room, as you can tell. It's just a couple changes of clothing and probably take up half the bottom of my bag. Space saver bags. Compresses everything down. Huge. These are also waterproof, which means you could fill them up with water if you needed to. Which leads me to my next point, and that's water. You're gonna need water, water, water if you bug out. Not having water will turn you into a little girl and you will cry. I've been there before, and it sucks. You have several options with water. Obviously, you can carry it with you. This is a water bladder. Holds about 3 liters of water, and it compresses to a pretty small package. You can take a couple of those with you, and they're decently light. And when you run across water, fill it up, drop a couple of these bad boys in there. Iodine tablets. One of these is an iodine tablet, and you have to let it sit for about 30 minutes. And the other one is it takes away the iodine flavor. Not necessary, but it's nice, I suppose. These are also nice. These are water containers. This one's a 5-gallon water container. And it compresses down thinner than this, but for a quick mistake. Sorry about that. I just did it really quickly just to give you an idea. But that holds 5 gallons of water. A lot of people will say you don't need this, but I personally think it's worth the wait. And that's a camping stove. Why take a camping stove if you can just take a lighter, you may ask? Or a flint. Really, the best way of starting a fire is a lighter. I mean, always make sure you have a lighter when you go with you. Other options are these little cubes, which work great. They're sectioned off into quarters, and they work great for starting fires. Really great. Really, really great. Another option is making your own little fire starters. Essentially, these could be called these little cubes, and that's lint and toilet paper rolls. Wrap that up in duct tape, and that can actually start you a lot of fires right there. You only need a little bit of that lint to actually get something going if you know what you're doing. Another one, tampons. Tampons work great. If you can tell, it looks like lint. It's a big cotton ball. And you strike that once with the flint, even just with the flint, it will go ablaze for sure. Back to the stove. Why do I think it's worth it? Well, it's simple, really. It's winter here in Indiana, and it's gonna get cold fast. Really fast. And I think it's pretty much not an option not to have a guaranteed fire. Especially if you want to stay alive. This container weighs 1 pound. It's 16 ounces of fuel. Probably a pound and a half if you bump in the can with it. This little thing weighs about another half a pound. So the whole total package is about 2 pounds. It's heavy. It is heavy. But here's the kicker. You don't have to spend calories pulling out firewood from the woods if it's even dry. Sometimes when it's soaking wet and it's raining, you don't have a fire unless you have a stove. Other options are the little heat in the can thingies. You just light them, put your canteen cup, which is another must. This one has a little handle. You can have aluminum, super light, cheap, does the job. I've had that for years now. But yeah, they have the little heat in the can. Basically looks like a little tuna can full of fuel. You light it, put the can on top, good to go. Moving on. You need fire, basically. But moving on, you need food. Different types of food options. MREs. They're huge. They're great. Packed full of calories. Most importantly, packed full of nutrients. Completely round, balanced meals. One important thing about MREs, you have to make sure you eat a little bit of everything, because everything has a little bit of different nutrients. And believe it or not, everything has a purpose. Even the gum. the gum has a laxative in it, because MREs will make you constipated if you don't chew the gum. So that's just a little tip. Make sure you chew the gum. Ramen. Ramen is huge. Look at the nutrition facts. It's about 400 calories per block, 8 grams of protein, packed full of sodium, but not in the pasta. You have the option of how much salt you want to put in it. Fats, which is like good carbohydrates. They're light, super light. You get a lot of calories in the small package. Moving on. Another option is canned food. Canned food has its pluses, minuses, pros and cons. Biggest con is weight. These aluminum cans weigh a lot. And compared to the calories that you get, well, they're not huge unless you get something like a soup. Some kind of chunky soup. Then the calories definitely bump up. Give you an idea. This is like a cheap fake chefware ID. Another huge food, hiking food, survival food, quick rolled oats. Huge. Love it. Obviously, you wouldn't take this whole pack unless you were traveling with a couple people. You could distribute weight. But it'll give you an idea of how many calories there is. There's 34 servings in this bag. Gives you an idea. Look at that. Protein. All sorts of stuff. A few vitamins. So these are huge. And they're light because they're oats. So you can stick some in some Ziploc bags. Wrap those in duct tape. Put them in some of these dry bags. These dry bags, are awesome. Hold all sorts of stuff. Come in packs of 3, so you can get them in single packs. And they keep everything dry, which is huge. Huge, huge, huge. They're huge for your clothing. You want to keep your clothing dry, which is another reason why I love these. Moving on. Powdered milk. Most people don't think of this, but powdered milk is packed with protein and vitamins. And it's hard to get vitamins when you're out there. Makes your oats taste better too. Powdered milk's cheap. Stock up on that. This is great for bugging in too. All this stuff is also great for bugging in. But this is a bug out situation and these supplies are almost out. Basically corn flour, what is it called? Masa. This stuff is awesome, especially if you're bugging out. And you can make Indian bread, all sorts of different fried breads with that. It's great stuff, great stuff. Beans and rice. Give you an idea of here real quick. Nutrition facts. Obviously tons of protein. Rice will have tons of carbs. A great way to carry these things are these plastic rice containers. These are awesome. These are awesome. That way your rice doesn't go everywhere. You obviously need some you want to keep all your food in bags so that if you do get a spill, you can fill up the bottom of your bag. Oop, there we go. Okay. Bars. Energy bars. These are great when you're on the go and you need to have lunch and you cannot stop. Just walk and you can have lunch at the same time. Good way to get some electrolytes are some of these food enhancers, food flavorizers, or whatever. You can tell caffeine plus B vitamins, energy vitamins, and they're a good way to kind of spoil yourself when you're sad because the world's falling apart. At least you can still have your fancy water. They're light too. These come in little single serving portions, and they're light. Great if you have water bottles, which is something I actually do not have here. But those 1 liter Smart bottles, those are great. I buy them every single time I go hiking. Every single time. They are cylindrical in shape and they're thin, so they can pretty much wedge themselves into any corner in your bag. They're great. Always take those. As far as food, you get the idea. Basically, you want something that you can make quickly, and it's light, you can carry, packed with energy. Obviously, and I have this here because you would think mixed vegetables, healthy, great. Well, this can has about 150 calories. Not even. And it weighs as much as this can, which has 460 calories. So, I mean, there you go. I mean, you get probably the same amount of vitamins that Chef Boyardee can. I didn't really check, but you get my point. Now, this food, excuse me, versus this food. Which one's better? Well, that's up to you. Obviously, this food you can eat on the run. You don't have to heat it up, and it's packed full of stuff. But it's more expensive than this. If I were first starting off, I would probably buy a couple of those and kind of suck up on this. Because again, this stuff right here could be used at home. Cans, dried beans, rolled oats, this flour, all-purpose flour, corn flour, all sorts of stuff. I mean, start stocking up. This right here is probably not even 20 bucks worth of food, and it'd feed it'd feed you for a while, a long time. There's a lot of calories there. So, that's food.